Hello, everybody. It's me, Bigfoot Michigan Rob. It's Friday, May 12th, and you know what that means. It's time for another encounter story sent in by either a subscriber or an emailer. This was sent in by a subscriber from Wexford, Michigan. This guy is allegedly hunting the Michigan Dogman. He had a crazy encounter in the woods and near his home. I hope you enjoy it. Please subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob if this is your first time here. Please share me out, like, share, leave a comment. The super thanks is open for those who care to donate. I do appreciate each and every single one of you for tuning in, as also for the shows that I do Tuesday, 9 in the East, Beyond BMR, and of course Thursday afternoon at 1, Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob and Krista. Here we go. I'm excited. Kick back, get your favorite beverage. It's Friday. The hunt for the Michigan Dogman. Rob, I have been hunting Dogman for 5 years. I had my first encounter where I live now in Wexford, Michigan. Rob, you often mention on your shows that Wexford is the Dogman capital in the state of Michigan. I do agree with you. Also, I understand that your Bigfoot encounter was in Wexford, Michigan, where you spent time fishing Lake Cadillac. That was back in 2018, Rob, if I recall. And yes, that is the year that I had my encounter. Well, Rob, my encounter was also in 2018. Oh, and excuse me, for the purposes of this email, my name is Jim, and I listen to all your shows late at night on replay at my factory job. Again, I live in Wexford, and I have a home nestled close to the woods and moved there in the late fall of 2015. The first 3 years spent on my property was mainly remodeling and adding some upgrades to the house. I also own hunting property 3 miles to the north, so a perfect spot for me. The property also cuts back about an hour's ride into work, so again, an ideal location. Like most that live in Upper Michigan, we have a nice mixture of wildlife and fauna throughout. Our biggest animals, perhaps the deer. We also get an assortment of coyotes, foxes, and usually bigger cats like bobcats. And of course, the other usual rodents and vermin. It was not until early spring in 2018 when I came across three-toed footprints on my property along, and some of these footprints actually extended to four toes. I describe these as digits, with what appeared to be claws extending from, of course, the digits or the flanges. At first, I thought it was like a small bobcat or another predatory animal. However, these tracks or prints were much longer, unlike a cat's, and much wider, and they had short, but much wider, and cats have shorter pads. Definitely unlike cats. And these claws were much, much longer. I first came upon these tracks at my woodline. They came from the woods out about 10 feet, appeared to stop, then circle back into the forest. This is where I lost sight of them as they reeled back. I was kind of perplexed at this. I went back to the house and decided on the weekend I would go into the woods and see what I could find. The weekend arrived. I got off work at 5 in the morning, got home around 5:30, and took a nap until about 10. Rob, when you work the night shift, you don't sleep. You take daily naps. A very weird sleep pattern for those that work this type of shift. I entered the woods from the tree line where I found the unusual tracks. Surprisingly, after living 3 years at this location, I never really explored these woods. As I mentioned earlier, I spent most of my time at my hunting property situated to the north. After about 1 mile in, I actually forgot the reason why I entered the woods. In fact, I kind of kicked myself as to I never explored these woods, considering they are right in my very own backyard. Naturally, I made excuses about work, the hunting property, and of course, being married with two grade school level kids kept me busy. In fact, my son Adam had kept bugging me to coach his junior Pee Wee baseball team. The woods were like most, beautiful and full of life. I just love the natural fragrances of the outdoors and the like. While hiking the woods, I found no such tracks like I had at the tree line. Then I came upon a very unusual structure. It kind of looked like a mound, but a very tall and wide mound. At first, it appeared as though it was deadfall from the surrounding trees over the years that kept piling up on it. I walked onto the far side of the mound, and at the bottom was a rather sizable 4-foot entrance. I got down on the ground and peered inside. Fortunately, I had brought a flashlight and could peer inside. Then, while from the outside looking in, I noticed the walls and top of this mound appeared rather interesting. Do I dare go inside? I think to myself. Realizing no bears or wolves were in these parts, I reluctantly ventured inside. Inside this structure, I was amazed at the complexity of the interwoven twine, branches, and some of these branches were quite sizable. Also, what appeared holding everything together, despite the interwoven, was hardened mud, which also reminded me of a substance, and it kind of looked like some sort of cement. Then, while exploring the inside of this mound, I came across 3 and 4-toed tracks that I discovered earlier at my tree line. I do also want to mention that to give you scale, I am a 6-foot man and I could stand straight up with ample space above my head. The mound itself was about 8 feet wide by perhaps 15 feet long. I followed the tracks for a short distance, which led to a 4-foot hole that was dug out where the tracks led down inside. I got onto my hands and knees to look, when all of a sudden a foul stench of rotting meat and ammonia filled my nostrils. Then I heard what appeared to be movement from inside the tunnel. Then a loud, unnatural growl emanated from the depths below me. Startled, I got up and quickly exited the tunnel. I made my way back to the house. However, the 1.5-mile trek back to my house was not very pleasurable. Not like the hike in. I had gotten a sense of fear. About 5 minutes, I distinctly heard a heavy bipedal footfall flanking me to the right. Every time I stopped, the footfall stopped. Looking to my right, I can't see anything. I had perhaps 10 feet of visibility into the woods as the dense forest quickly closed. This continued all the way until I broke the tree line leading back to my house. I was so scared and had wondered what was following me, and also what built that mound. I could not think of any animal known to me, and I was confused and anxiety filled my body. Later that evening, I went to my shed to put away some tools that had been laying around in my backyard. The closer that I approached my shed, the sense of being watched overtook me, as well as that pungent smell that I came across earlier that day at the mound. I realized the smell is coming from inside my shed. I approached the door of my shed. You guessed it. There were those tracks appearing just outside the door. Shaking and still feeling as though I'm being watched, I reluctantly entered my shed. That foul smell overtook me almost to where I passed out. I gazed to the back of the shed, where in horror I saw the fresh carcass of a deer savagely ripped to pieces, with the bloody head of the deer almost strategically placed and mounted on the top of my second-hand refrigerator that I use for storing my fresh meat from my hunts. Rob, man, I am used to skinning and parting deer, but this sight was horrific. I ran out of my shed and vomited on the grass in front of me. I mentioned earlier, on my way to the shed, that I was being watched, or at least I felt that I was being watched. My instincts were correct. Firstly, that strange, indiscernible howl or growl came from my tree line. I looked up after dispensing my stomach, and there stood on two legs with red eye shine, some humanoid-looking figure was peering in at me. It almost appeared to be a big wolf or dog. I could recognize what did appear to be unusually tall, almost spike-like ears coming up from the side of its head. Then the figure turned and ran back into the woods. Despite my terror, I have made it a point to hunt down whatever this beast is. I need to find it. I need to kill it. Just to give me peace of mind. That may sound foolish, but I have a wife and kids to think about, and I refuse to flee from my home. A week later, I went back to that mound. To my great surprise, the mound has been destroyed and the tunnel had been covered up. What was this creature? Did this creature actually destroy the mound to put me off of his trail? I don't know. Whatever this is, I need to find it. It has been 5 years and I've had no luck. Although late at night in the distance, I can still hear those scary growls. I think the creature is letting me know that he is still out there, lurking and waiting. Waiting for what? I don't know. Thank you so much for that, you guys. What do you think? The guy, well, it's been 5 years, 2018. Apparently sounds like a Dogman to me. You found that mound very well put together, interwoven. Found the tunnel, the stench down in the tunnel. He leaves. He's being flanked all the way to his home. Gets to his home later in the evening. Goes out to put his tools away. Feels like he's being watched. He feels a creepy, eerie feeling. And then how about that, you guys, inside his shed, finding that mangled, tattered, and torn deer with the head placed on top of his refrigerator. And then seeing this humanoid with the red eyes from his tree line. He explains the head, kind of like we've all heard before, the pointed ears, the oversized head. Dogman? Well, you know, Wexford, Michigan is known for dogmen. Wexford, Michigan is known for cryptids. They also are known for Bigfoot. Not to have a sighting in the last 5 years, but hearing the howls, yeah, I think this creature's out there. And like he says, what's he waiting for? I don't know. Hopefully he takes care of himself and his family, of course. And I got to reach out to this guy. I'd like to get some more details and see what else he's come up with. Hopefully he responds back. I'm sure he will. I've emailed him on a couple occasions. Thank you ever so much for everybody. I hope you enjoyed that one. It's Friday. I got rid of my groundhog. I appreciate everybody that sent in emails or made some comments on my last video. Thank you. He's gone. I haven't seen him in over a week. So now I can finish up my yard work, do what I need to do. Once again, thank you for subscribing to Bigfoot Michigan Rob. I love and appreciate each and every single one of you. The super thanks is open should you care to donate. If not, until next time, Bigfoot Michigan Rob.